Welcome back to Champion News Talk Radio, brought to you by championnews.net. And be sure to catch us on YouTube at Champion News Online, one word. You can view all of our archives at Champion News Online for YouTube, as well as get all pensions and your latest political news on championnews.net. Today, our founder, Jack Roser, and myself are speaking with Steve Balich, and we are talking about pensions and unions and doing better. And Jack, I just want to open this up. What are Americans to do? What are the Tea Party people to do? What can our listeners do?
Well, you've got to do a lot because we're bankrupt in the state, and the thing that is the biggest driver for our bankruptcy is the K-12 education system. They always talk about putting more money into it because you got
to. But it's for the children.
Yeah, that's the excuse.
So we can't take money away from
we all
children.
know that the big city schools, whether it's Rockford or any of the other, St. Louis especially, but especially Chicago, schools stink. Only half the kids that start high school actually graduate. When they do, they're at the 6th grade level. That's pathetic because the research that's been done by Bill Zettler, whose articles appear in Champion News, you can, championnews.net. Zettler is interesting, and he makes those figures, those dull figures, very have great significance. But what it shows is that these people that are running the system are they're mental midgets when it comes to the management of the school system. I say that after years of examining their management practices.
Are they mental midgets or maniacal geniuses, Jack?
They're
making $200,000 a year.
We're the mental midgets that pay them.
We're paying them, so...
Listen, when you got to look at it this way. If you're worried about the taxes on the real estate, right away you got to know that almost 2/3 of it, maybe in your area it is 2/3,
right,
but it'll be over 60% of what you're paying on real estate taxes are going to these people that are doing a lousy job of educating your kids.
Which means it's not going to the children. So don't be fooled when they tell you it's going to the children. 60% of it.
Next time we come on, I'm going to give you a website that you can go to that'll tell you exactly where your local school district stands relative to the state, the nation, or foreign countries. And what you're going to find out is, like, I live in Barrington, and everything costs a lot in Barrington because they got a lot of people that are making pretty good incomes. But the Barrington schools, you might think, would stand very high, but on an international scale, when it comes to science, arithmetic, and reading, Barrington is about 60% as well as...
Barrington?
Barrington. And when you get into Chicago, it's way down.
Do you think it's because of political correctness that these schools have to teach all this stuff that's irrelevant to education? You know, instead of teaching how to read, write, and do math, like
we're going to teach feelings.
We're teaching them about.
I've figured this out long ago. I know what's wrong. I've been at this for 40 years, and I'll tell you this. It's Newton's laws of motion set here. He says anything that's going in a given direction at a given speed will keep on doing that. Well, we ought to keep that in mind when you take your little kid in there, 6 years old, and he goes into 1st grade. And what are they doing? They're teaching him about the environment and Crayolas. My last child going through, I thought he was eating the Crayolas. But what they don't teach him is reading and arithmetic. The real key to get kids going is get them going in the first 3 years when kindly discipline can be imposed on a child, a 6, 7, or 8-year-old child. Discipline. A professional teacher is going to run the room, I don't care where they came from, and kindly discipline, not whacking the kids around, but you can insist that a child go when you get him early enough. But if you don't get him in the first 3 grades, you're going to have a recalcitrant kid that knows he can control the teacher. So discipline goes out the window the way they're doing it right now. And They don't teach the kids to read. Those children can learn arithmetic in the first grade, second grade, third grade, and if you don't do that, if you don't get them the basics, and that includes discipline, very essential to an education, and they can be taught no matter what kind of a family they come from. That teacher that's much bigger and educated and knows all of the skills of handling little kids is going to run that room, because they always did it. 100 years ago they did it. In my time they did it. The public schools didn't stink when I went through so long ago, but they stink now because they're a playpen. You've got to get those kids in the first 3 years to learn the basics in life, because if you don't, they will not be equipped in the 6th grade to understand the more advanced studies that they should be getting. And they're going to be trouble.
Wasn't there Goals 2000, a treaty with the UN that was supposed to dumb down our educational system?
I'm not aware of that, but if not requested, they've managed to do it.
Well, to me, it's like they signed on to it, but I figured they'd never go through with it.
What they signed on to was making their jobs ever so easy, reducing class size consistently. The propaganda they put out says that class size, lower ones are better. It isn't. It's mostly irrelevant, class size. You can have 40 kids in a class. My son Tom did very well. 4th grade, there were 55 kids in a class.
Wow.
In a Catholic school. They had a little discipline. They did very well.
You keep saying the word discipline, though, and if children don't learn discipline at home, how are they going to be able to...
Baloney. These are professionals running the school.
You know what? We're going to be taking some discipline here and stopping right now, because we're going to be going to a break.